Hi everyone, it's Christophe Choo from Coldwell Banker Global Luxury in beautiful, sunny today, Beverly Hills, California. It's early June and it's my Tuesday Touring Tuesdays, which means I go out on caravan to preview all of the new listings in my marketplace. And I have a marketplace that's generally about a 10-mile radius from Beverly Hills. And I'm starting out my tour today in the flats of Beverly Hills. So I figured since I'm in the flats, I'll give you a little update on the marketplace here in the flats of Beverly Hills, which is actually the most popular area of the city. And the reason being is that it's literally right on the border of the business district on the south, and the residential district is just north of the business district. It's basically 3 blocks north and south, and it's about, I think, 17, maybe 20 blocks east and west, right in the heart of Beverly Hills. You have the Beverly Hills Hotel in the northern section, and you have the business district right on the south. So it's one of those areas that you could, it does actually has sidewalks, and you could actually walk to the parks, walk to the restaurants, the shopping and rodeo drive. So it's a very, very popular neighborhood. So let's start our tour. So I'm here at Little Santa Monica Boulevard and Cannon Drive, and I'm going to start my little tour and tell you what's going on in the flats marketplace. It's a very, very specific marketplace, so that's why I'm going to take on this little tour and show you what's going on in the neighborhood. So currently there are about 25 homes for sale here in the flats, and prices pretty much start 5 to 6 million. Right now the lowest list price in the flats is a property that's listed for 6.2 million. And what do you get for 6.2? Oops, let me fix my camera. What do you get for 6.2 million in the flats? Well, you get a house on the 500 block, and usually it's going to be right next to Santa Monica Boulevard, so you're by the park, and you may get some of the noise from Santa Monica. So the house that's at 504 Foothill is on the market for 6.2 million. It's about 4,000 square feet on an 11,400 foot lot. I'm paying about $1,520 a square foot for the house itself. You get 5 bedrooms, 6 baths, older home. It has been updated, but it was originally built in the 1920s, which was a big era for construction here in the Beverly Hills area. So that's the lowest price home currently in the flats. And actually, I'll drive you by the highest price listing in the flats, which is my listing. It's the property that many of you have probably seen called Maison 808. It's the highest price for several reasons. Number one, it's the largest property by far in the flats, because if you look at what's going on in the flats right now, the average lot size in the flats of listed properties right now is about 18,000 square feet, just over that. And the ones that have sold on average with an average of just under 18,000 square feet. So that's the kind of average size lot in the flats area. Now the one that I have at Maison 808 is 1.68 acres. So there's nothing else that's ever come on the market in the history of the flats of Beverly Hills as large as that. And the owner had an amazing vision. He owned one property in the early 80s. He bought the property next door in the mid 80s, and then he built what's now known as Maison 808. Truly spectacular residence, and that is listed for 43.8 million. It's about 26,000 square feet on, again, 1.68 acres. So right now, again, 25 listings on the market in the flats. They've been on the market on average about 60 days. The median price is just under 11 million, I should say. The average square footage is about 8,400. You're talking about, $1,700 per square foot. And we talked earlier that the average lot size is about 18,000 square feet. There are 2 homes currently in escrow in the flats. Average time on market about 50 days or so. And there have been 15 closed sales so far this year, 2018, in the flats, which is great. Average market time of 44 days. So typically in our market, the higher price the home, the longer the market time. But the average is 44 days. The average price is about 9.2 million. Again, I mentioned earlier, average lot size is about just under 18,000 square feet. And the average home sold was just under 6,000, which puts it around, I think, around 1,700 per square foot sales price for the homes. And interestingly enough, the listing to selling price ratio is less than 3%. So the homes in the flats typically sell very quickly. on the lower end specifically. Anything under 10 million pretty much is a couple weeks to sell, and they go pretty quickly. So that's just kind of an interesting aside in Beverly Hills. So aside from my property that's at 43.8 million, which actually we're coming up to it in a second, so I'm gonna just turn my camera and show it to you. I've seen it before for those of you that follow me. And again, it's double lot. I think it's 175 or 180 feet of frontage. So if you start right after this hedge here, right there, that's the beginning of the gates. Extremely private. It has 3 entrance gates in the front, and you have a garage in the front, as well as 2 guest houses in the back of the property, separate, both detached, and they each have 2-car garages. And we're just about 3 houses just south of Sunset Boulevard. And literally, if you go 1 block west, you're at the Beverly Hills Hotel. So it's the northern section of the flats. And in the flats, every block you go, there's a 500 block, 600 block, 800 block, and in some cases a 900 block. So every block you go, the properties are larger and they're more expensive. So the closer to the north, the more expensive they become. And once you're north of Sunset, the prices rise a little bit, even a little bit higher than before. So over here to the right is actually, you can't really see it, many of these houses you can't see, is a house designed by the famed interior designer Waldo Fernandez. He actually built that as his own house. A friend and lady I know lives there and owns it. It's a stunning, stunning property. The one next door, which you can't see unfortunately, sold for, gosh, $5 million a few years ago, and they built a brand new house, not on spec. It was built for the current owner. And so what else is going on in the flats? So aside from my listing, there's a really, really beautiful house on the West End flats called the Rutherford House. It's the second highest price. It's on a 26,000 foot lot. So our lot on Rexford that we just drove by is, what, triple, almost quadruple the size. They're asking $31.9 million for this house. It's not very large. It's about 10,000 square feet versus mine that's about 26,000 square feet. Now the one here on Greenway, the one that's on the market for $31.9 million, it did sell maybe 4 years ago for about $8.9. The owners have bought and sold many houses. They remodeled them absolutely to perfection. So it's remodeled incredibly. And it's listed for $31.9 million. So that is the second highest price currently in the flats available right now. And in terms of the highest sale in the flats this year, a house on Cannon Drive, which is the street we started on, which is a relatively busy street in Beverly Hills, meaning it runs north and south, and it's a main thoroughfare into the business district. That house was a property at 706 North Cannon, and it was just over 10,000 square feet, built in 2000, so about 18 years old, and that sold for $23.8 million. It was listed for, it was listed at 23.8 and it sold for 23.5, and it sold in a couple of days. And that was a 50,000 square foot lot. So that's kind of the general range of the prices right now currently in the flats, or at least in the last 6 months. And I'm going to check where I'm going next for my brokers open. Here we go, on Foothill. So we'll just continue our tour until we get to that particular property. So in the flats of Beverly Hills, there are different, Beverly Hills, first of all, is one of the cities in America that has the most trees. I would say the second city that has the most trees that I visited is Atlanta. Atlanta has so many beautiful trees, and Beverly Hills does as well. So when you're up in the hills and you look down on the city, you look on Beverly Hills, you see so much greenery, and then you look at the borders of LA or Los Angeles, very few trees. But Beverly Hills, they took a lot of time to master plan the city when they were first developing it at the turn of the century, in the early 1900s. So they did a great job. And as you saw on the other street, that was all, I don't know what kind of trees those are, but this is the palm tree lined street. There are palm tree lined streets, maple tree lined streets, jacaranda tree lined streets. So there's all different types of trees that line the streets, and they were all part of the master plan. So these palm trees were probably put in the early 1905, 1915 era, because I know the first park in Beverly Hills, the Will Rogers Park, was, I think, 1914 when it was dedicated, and those palm trees that are now about as tall as this, if not taller, were put in at that particular time. So I'm just about to arrive here at 801 Foothill. Oh, and actually I just realized that I've already seen this house, so we'll skip that one. And I don't remember the price of this one offhand, so forgive me about that. So we'll go and continue this for another couple blocks, and we'll go to another section. So this is the 800 block, which again is a little bit more prime as you go north. You can see here's one of the east-west streets, more beautiful trees. And we're going to head over to Arden Drive, which is in the East End Flats. So the Flats has basically kind of 4 different areas you want to think about when you're buying in the Flats. Again, the 500 block is where it starts and ends at the 900 block, or just over the 900 block. So depending on the street, the lower the number, the lower the price, the smaller the lot and smaller the house. The higher the number, the higher the price, the bigger the lot. And then in terms of east and west, that was north and south, by the way. The east end is Doheny Drive on the east. That's the border of Beverly Hills and West Hollywood. So the streets that are right directly just west of Doheny, I think the first street is, gosh, I'm trying to remember now, Oakhurst. So that's kind of the least expensive section, meaning the eastern flats is less expensive than the western flats. So the further west you are and the further north you are, the higher the prices. So just a little innuendo into that. And just again, for those of you that know me, I've been around in real estate for 29, almost 30 years. It seems like since I was a child, basically. So I pretty much know all these blocks by heart. I remember when I got the call a couple months ago for the Schuarger house that I've listed, the Jane Wyman, Ronald Reagan house. A lady called, the daughter of the owner, and she said, oh, we have a property on Beverly Glen, and my mom passed away, and it's across the street from the property you sold on Mapleton. So right away, I knew the house. I said, it isn't by chance that Paul Williams at 333 Beverly Glen. She says, how did you know? Well, having done this now for 30 years and been driving for, 35, 36 years, I pretty much know every street, or most every street in all my marketplace like the back of my hand. So when someone calls me and says, oh, I live on the 1000 block of North La Jolla, I know where it's positioned. I kind of remember visually what kind of houses are on that block, or duplexes or fourplexes or whatever. And knowledge is power. Being able to know your marketplace is so important, and I've spent many, many years studying that, so it does take time. And so for newer agents, just know you better start studying your marketplace if you want to be good and succeed in the business of real estate, which is a tough business. So I'm here in Arden, so we're basically about 3-4 blocks from the eastern border of the flats of Beverly Hills, and I think I just turned on the